Political colours are a fascinating mix of history, symbolism and practical campaigning. They've been used for centuries to help voters quickly recognise parties even before literacy was widespread. Here's a breakdown of how they came to be and why they still matter. So the origins. Before modern politics, in medieval Europe, colours were tied to heraldry, noble houses, factions or military units, and livery colours. In the UK, early wings, liberal leaning, often used buff and blue, while Tories, conservative leaning, favoured blue. During elections in the 18th to 19th centuries, candidates handed out coloured rosettes or ribbons to their supporters, based on local traditions, earlier heraldic ties. The rise of mass politics, the 19th century. With the expansion of the vote, political colours became more standardised, useful for recognition in rallies, posters and in newspapers. Parties began to consciously brand themselves. Conservatives had blue, symbolising loyalty, stability and traditionalism. I can't even say that with a straight face. The Liberals had a yellow gold, which was linked to reform, enlightenment and the Whig heritage. Labour had red, which was adopted from the socialist and workers' movements, symbolising solidarity and revolution. I'd say communism. Take that one as a non-political commentary. The international influence. Red became globally associated with socialist and communist movements after the French revolutions, red flag and the 1848 European revolutions. Blue was often tied to conservatism and the monarchist traditions in Europe. Green was linked to the agrarian movements and later environmentalism, maybe in Germany the Greens in the 1980s and the UK Green Party. Black and brown were adopted by fascist movements in the 20th century, for example Mussolini's black shirts and Hitler's brown shirts, now avoided by mainstream parties, I'd say for obvious reasons. But the modern branding and media. Colours became political logos in themselves, instantly recognisable on ballots, TV and online. They are psychologically chosen to match the party's messages. Blue is calm, competence and authority. Red, passion, urgency and activism. Yellow and orange, optimism, energy, creativity. Green, nature, renewal, sustainability. In countries with high illiteracy in the past, ballot papers often used colours or symbols so voters could find their party without reading. The UK today. By the late 20th century, UK parties had locked in their colours. As we've said a few times, the Conservative Party went for a more light to blue medium. Labour Party, a vibrant red. The Liberal Democrats stuck with the yellow gold and the Green Party obviously went green. SNP went with yellow and black. Reform UK now sits with a lovely blue turquoise colour. And here's the main one for me, Advance UK, a deep navy blue. It's a modern branding choice with historical conservative echoes. In TV debates, podium lighting and backdrops are often colour-coded to match the party branding. But why do they still matter? Well, instant recognition. On leaflets, posters, ballots and even badges, ties, it all makes a difference. There's an emotional association. The colours trigger a subconscious feeling, trust, passion, optimism. But cultural memory, a party's colour often outlasts the leaders or policies in public recognition. Many political colours carry similar meanings across countries, making them useful for signalling ideology internationally. Political colours are a fascinating mix of history, symbolism and practical campaigning. They've been used for centuries to help the voters recognise the parties, and it's a brilliant thing when it comes down to it. Now, I came across the psychology of colours when I was buying and selling my houses through the years, and I found out that yellow symbolised buy me. So I looked into it quite a lot a few years back. That's why I'm making this now, kind of good with the current times. But let's dive into the psychology and the physiology of colour, but with a special lens on politics and situational use. The physiology. So how can we see colour? Light and the eye. Light enters the eye, hits the retina and the photoreceptor cells, the cones. They detect the wavelengths. Short wavelengths, 450 nm, blue perception. Medium wavelengths, 530 nm, green perception. The long wavelengths, 650 nm, red perception. Cone sensitivity. We have 3 cone types, S, M, L. Now this is for short, medium and long wavelengths. Brain intercepts combinations to produce millions of colours. It interprets them and it's amazing what it can do when you look into it. Brain processing. The visual cortex assigns meaning to colour, linking it with memory, emotion and learned associations. That's where political sciences kick in. The colour itself is neutral, but our experience makes it symbolic. Each colour carries subconscious cues. Political strategists exploit this to signal ideology, temperament and values. Red increases the heart rate, the blood pressure and alertness. Socialism, labour movements and urgency. So you can see how the links there work together. But let's do a little off-the-cuff advertising now, shall we? Why not? So when we go back to my newly joined party of recent weeks, Advance UK, it's quite a new party and it's been launched this year, 2025. Their deep navy blue, represented by hexadecimal colour, the code hashtag 03165A. Now if you're curious about how that compares to other political party colours or what the symbolism might be, feel free to ask or have a look in the description. I'd be happy to dig into it a bit more. But Advance UK's choice of deep navy blue could carry several layers of political and cultural symbolism. I would say stability and authority. The deep navy is often associated with trust, competence and reliability, qualities parties like to protect, especially if they're in a positioning to be themselves as credible and serious. It also is a colour frequently linked to law, order and disciplined governance. In UK politics, dark blue has a historic association with the Conservative Party. Choosing a deeper, more saturated navy might signal a connection to serious politics, while differentiating visual and lighter away from that Tory blue. Navy is a common corporate and diplomatic colour, suggesting polished, globally minded image. It can appeal to the centrist or a business orientated voter who value protagonism over ideology. By going for a darker, almost midnight hue, they can stand out on the ballots, on the campaign materials, TV debates, avoiding clashes with Labour red, Lib Dem orange and green for the Greens. So what is the psychological impact? Dark blues tend to reduce perceptions of volatility. Instead, they communicate calm, rational decision making, potentially reassuring voters who are seeking political stability. If they've paired it with red accents as seen in the logo, that could hint at blending strength, passion with red, with stability and reason blue, a balance often used in branding to appeal across political divides. So thank you for joining me on this very short history of documentary. Don't forget, like the video, do subscribe, check out the other videos, plenty of political ones at the minute given the situations, and I'll catch you in the new one.
Of all none but me. And all I've done for want of wit to memory I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. If I had money enough to spend and leisure time to sit a while, there is a